Hi everybody, welcome to another Chats with Chowdhury. We're live at the Virtual Process Show. It's day 3, and I'm delighted to be joined by Rolf Preuss, I hope I pronounced that properly, who is
good.
Head of Marketing at LUMITOS, who are the organisers of this week's event. And we're going to be talking about the event from the organiser's perspective and everything virtual. So hi Rolf, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Rizwan, and thanks for organizing everything.
Well, I was just going to say that thank you very much for organising the interviews I've had with the exhibitors this week. I've really missed going to live shows, and it's really, although it's not the same, it's lovely to be talking to different exhibitors throughout the day to find out what they're doing at the show and learn new things. So thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it, and the feedback I've been getting from all the exhibitors is they've been enjoying it as well, and been getting some really good visitor throughput. So we'll talk about that actually and what you've done to make this show a success. Certainly it seems like that this week, but before we do that, perhaps you could tell people a little bit about LUMITOS and what you do as a big business and how you came to be, really.
Okay, yeah, actually our company was founded more than 20 years ago. At that time it was really a startup. It survived the disaster in 2000 when a lot of dot-coms passed away. And from the beginning it was always to make information available to the B2B market. And so we grew over time in this area. Right now we have 7 industrial portals with more than 7 million users a year. So they are dedicated to special markets like chemistry, biotech, food, beverage, and so on. And on these platforms, we offer information free of charge for users, but the companies have to pay a little bit to us so that we can make this information available.
Sure.
And over the time, we grew as a company. We have different characters with different knowledge on board. And we became more and more, let's say, a kind of consultant to our customers. So for example, myself, I was more than 25 years on the other side. So I was in the industry as product manager or head of marketing. So I understood very well how the situation is for a company that has to sell something. And that knowledge I could bring into LUMITOS when I joined 7 years ago. So by now, it's really a mixture of making these informations available to users in a B2B market and also to act as a consultant to our customers. And our vision is clear. We want to allow people in the future not to waste their time in cumbersome digging for information. So it should be quite easy to find the information. And that's something we are working on. And that's also one of the reasons that we started with virtual events, because just because the real exhibitions cannot take place this year, let's see what's next year, there's always a demand for information in the market, and we wanted to make it easily accessible.
Right. So how long have you been doing virtual events?
How can I say it? I mean, it's not so long ago, so we started 3rd of March or so.
Really?
Just a couple of months ago. But on the other side, I would say we are already an expert in this market, because 2 years ago, I would say nobody cared about virtual events. So yeah, by now we are already expert. We have now running the 2nd one. And let's see what comes in the future.
Right, fantastic. So this is day 3 of the show. How, from your perspective, has the show gone?
Yeah, of course, every time, is it a real exhibition on site or a virtual event, you are getting nervous when the starting point is within reach. So it started very well, a little bit early actually on Tuesday. The opening was planned for 9 o'clock or so, but already at 7 o'clock, people were standing in front. We want to get in. So yeah, actually the show started already at 7 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Was very well accepted. very surprisingly for me that on the first day already in the beginning, between 10 and 11 in the morning, there were so many people at the show. That's something we didn't see at the last one. That was more, it started slowly. Maybe a reason is that people or visitors are now more, they know already what to expect at such a show. Or maybe that's the reason that they started early in the morning. But also on day 3, there's really ongoing traffic. And especially nice to see is that it's not just limited to Germany, Europe, it's all over the world. So we have visitors from all over the world. And I just looked up before we started our talk, and I could see over the last 2.5 days, there was not one single hour a day that there was no visitor. So that's cool. I mean, a global reach, just Greenland and Iceland, I couldn't see any visitors from them, but it's still time for them to attend.
Fantastic. So tell me, from your view, because actually, I mean, it's quite interesting. Obviously, it is very much an exhibition rather than a conference and exhibition, but I know you've got webinars running throughout the day, each day as well. And I know that the webinars as well have been very well attended as well in terms of people attending them. So what do you think are the key elements to put together a successful virtual exhibition?
I mean, besides technology, you always need a platform that can operate everything. The key element, number 1, is you need a sufficient number of exhibitors. So nobody's interested in an exhibition with just 5 companies showing stuff. So you need an amount of exhibitors, you need an amount of webinars, because exchange of knowledge, that's very important, and people love to learn more and more. So that are the 2 key elements. The third one is you have to attract the visitors, and that's something we are really good in, because we have all these users of our portals. So we can, we did a lot of mailing campaigns to attract them, to make them aware of the show itself, to make them aware of the topics. And also during the show, very important, every day you have to send out the message, what's going on today? And we see it when the mailing starts in the morning. You can really see on the dashboard the visitors are coming in or signing in to visit the show. So the 3 elements, I repeat, sufficient number of exhibitors, sufficient number of webinars, lectures, and the third part, of course, very important, you have to make lots of noise to attract the visitors.
Sure. Well, there is another element, which is that you have to pay to enter as well, because it is free, isn't it, your event?
Okay. As we never charged for it, so it didn't come to my mind now to mention it, but you're right. But you are right. I mean, I'm not sure how this will go on in the future, because at conferences, I cannot imagine they can live without any payment from the participants. But it's really a very important part. It doesn't cost a cent. You don't have to travel. But I mean, that's something in general for all the virtual events.
Sure.
I guess what's happening now is we are attracting more people than before, because, I mean, let's say a PitCon in the US. Okay, who can travel to the US? It's cumbersome. It's cost.
I was there as well, though, in March. I was in PitCon in March this year doing videos with clients. So it was,
because it's your business. But as a visitor from a laboratory, you have to ask your boss to get 100%, the funding.
Yeah. You're right. I don't disagree. You're right. 100%. So those are the key elements. But I've been speaking to, obviously, exhibitors this week. And I have to say, I'm not just saying this, I'm talking to you. Every single one of them has been saying to me, Lumitos have done a great job. They've made it easy for us. So how have you made it easy for exhibitors in terms of their virtual booths? And so I don't want to give away any trade secrets, obviously, but at the same time, be interested to know, what have you done which is maybe different to other people, which have got all the exhibitors singing your praises so much to me?
Well, difficult to say. I mean, I don't know how all the other virtual events work, but what I know for sure is we do most of the work. So what we say to a customer, just tell us what are the products you want to bring on display. Just give us some raw material, I would say, and then we produce everything for you. And at the end, yeah, everything is nearly perfect. Of course, you can always argue, why are the shoes of this person at the booth are gray and not brown? Yeah, but overall, yeah, everything is fine and they can start. So it's a turnkey solution, I would say.
Fine. Well,
and that makes it easy.
Well, there's one thing that I was going to ask you, and we have spoken this before, but maybe it'd be interesting to hear what other people think about this. I know when we spoke before about virtual events, I was asking you when we first spoke about this event, have you got any avatars and are you going to do any 3D effects and make people feel like they're walking through? So, you know, and I've spoken to some people who've put together some software now, which is all about that, you know, not all about that. Let me rephrase that. It's about getting people to the booth, but they want to try and make it as realistic as possible. So they've created avatars, dressing rooms where people can be. And actually, when you pass by other visitors, their name comes up and you can engage with the person you walk by with as well. So trying to create that, you know, feel of that live show that you pass someone, you go, oh, hi, how are you doing? And you can try and interact. So what's your views on that? How, do you think that works, or why haven't you done that with your virtual events?
Actually, we have another perspective on this. When we look at a virtual event, or let's say in general, an event, I mean, why should somebody go to an event, and what is the reason that a company is exhibiting there? And we say at the end, all want to make a business. So what we did, we reduced it to the minimum. We don't want to mimic an Analytica and Arkema, because I saw some attempts to do this and I got really, how can I say, I was overwhelmed with all this. I can click here, I can change the angle of view, and at the end I forgot to to order some information or to set up for a sales lead. So our system is quite simple. Get on the exhibition. We have a search system where you really can filter for the topic of interest. At the end, you have, let's say, 5 companies that can supply something that's interesting for you. Go to the booth, see what they offer, and with 3 clicks, you can get the information you need, and that's it. So it's really, simplicity maybe is the right word for that. We're focusing on that rather than to do it in a fancy way. But I think it's a clever idea to have this kind of interaction when you walk through the aisles. I mean, like on an exhibition like Analytica, you walk there through, watching here and watching there. And then in a sudden you see, hey, this guy, this one, I met him 2 years ago, he's there, so we can get in contact. And that's a nice feature, but who knows, maybe we are going to add that next year.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I've got to say, what I do like, actually, having visited the booths, is the fact that, one, when you go into the booth, people can actually know you're there and immediately say, hi, Rizwan, and start talking to you with the chat function. That's very good. And also, I do like the fact that you can switch to video quite easily and start having almost like a Zoom function like we're doing now, where you can have a 2-way video interaction as well. And I think that's very good as well. So I tried those out and they were actually very, very good way to communicate and very easy, actually. Sometimes I've been to booths and you don't know what you're going to press to have the conversation, or you go onto a booth actually and suddenly it asks for permissions. And you're scared of just saying, why are you being asking for permission on my camera? You know, I didn't ask you to take over my laptop, and suddenly this comes up and there's no explanation. So I thought that was very simple and easy. So that was very good. So moving forward then, so what can we expect from Lumitos in the future in terms of events that you're doing and maybe features that you're adding to the virtual events?
Well, actually, we learned from the first one. The first one, we had a simple text chat available. And we were asked by visitors as well as from exhibitors, what about a video chat or something like that? So we said, well, let's look into it. And now it's there. So we will do a review after this show and see, okay, what kind of feedback do we get and what can we implement, can be implemented into the future solutions.
Fine, fantastic. Now, I know that you guys are working with Analytica in terms of their virtual event. So, and I know that. So I've got a lot of followers, obviously, who work within life science, who would have either been visiting Analytica live this year, first in March, but then obviously moved it back, and also exhibiting. Now, obviously, it's switched completely from a live event to virtual. So what can we expect from Analytica? What can you share with us at this moment in time in relation to the virtual version of Analytica?
Actually, we are partnering with Messe Munich with the Analytica for 15 years, 10 years, whatever. So for a very long period. And so we, in the past, we did all the visitor mailings to attract visitors to the exhibition. So we did all the technical part, the content part, and so on. And yeah, in the talks with Munich, they saw that the first lab show was very successful, though they trust in us that we can also arrange that for them. So last week, the decision was made. Yeah, now it's only virtual, and we will use our platform to run this show. Plus, we are also doing all the talks with potential exhibitors. So all our contacts we have in the market, we use now. My colleagues in sales are very active. We have live chat around the clock, you can say. Even last night, I talked to a lady in Colorado. She was interested to exhibit. So we will see a great show with hopefully 35,000 visitors, because here it's also very important to see, although the Analytica is, yeah, we could say the biggest event in this area, the reach into the US or into South America is limited. But with this virtual event, we are now getting into untapped markets, and I expect lots of international visitors. By the way, that's something we also achieved now with the virtual process show. Roughly 50% are international visitors, 20% from the US. And that's a clear indication that with this kind of show, although Analytica will attract people from all over the world.
Fantastic. Well, that's really interesting to know. Well, I hopefully look forward to doing some interviews from Analytica as well then down the road. So that would be really exciting to do.
I bet that you can do that.
So,
because I heard already from some companies, how can I get to Rizwan that he makes
Well, we could talk about that later, but look. So, well, look, I know you've got to get back to the show. I really appreciate the time out to give me some information. Actually, it's been really interesting because it's two of my favorite subjects, shows and events, and obviously looking at life science and stuff as well. So it's fantastic. I really appreciate as I said, working with you this week. It's been fantastic visiting the show and genuinely getting the feedback from all the exhibitors on what they're doing. So I'll let you get back to the show. I'd say to everybody who's watched this, I hope you found that useful. Please, if you haven't been to the show and you want to see what a virtual exhibition is like, register. It's absolutely free. It takes about 30 seconds, maybe less than that actually to do. You get a quick email as soon as you put your name and company in. You just click yes and you go straight through to the show, and it's very, very easy. So check it out. And actually, if you have exhibited at Analytica or visited Analytica before and you're thinking, well, what's it going to be like down the road? I would suggest you check it out now as well, because it's running right now and tomorrow. Have a check and see what it's like. I'll give you a bit of a feel for what the show might be down the road, although I'm sure they'll have thought of extra new things to do by then to improve it even more than they already have. So all I'll say, Rolf, is thank you very much for your time. Have a great show for the rest of the week.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope you found that useful. And as always, stay well and stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.